Hey everybody, welcome back to another EDH videos. Today's video is day 22 of 25 days of deck building. And today we are on Grixis, which is blue, black, and red. We are building around Edward Kenway, which is 2 generic and a Grixis, legendary creature, human, assassin, pirate. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each tapped assassin, pirate, or vehicle you control. Whenever a vehicle you control deals combat damage to a player, look at the top card of that player's library, then exile it face down. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. As a 5/5 for 5. I went more vehicle tribal for this one. A little bit of assassins, a little bit of pirates to crew the vehicles, but mainly just vehicles in this one. I like this commander because it's Grixis, and Grixis is cool. I don't know what else to say, to be honest. And vehicles are cool. I feel like this is a good vehicle tribal deck. There's like 30 or so vehicles in here. But yeah, let's get right into what's actually inside the deck. First up, we always have ramp. Yep, ramp. There's probably going to be a couple pieces that we know in here. We got Arcane Signet, 2 generic, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. So a blue, black, or a red. The 3 important colors that our commander are. Felwar Stone, 2 generic, add 1 mana of any color that a land opponent controls could produce. People are usually going to be playing black, blue, or red, so don't have to worry about it there. Cultivator's Caravan, 3 generic. You can tap it, add 1 mana of any color, or you can also crew 3, and it's a 5/5, which is pretty good. Soaring, 1 generic, tap it for 2 colorless, helps us get our vehicles up, helps us get our commander out turn 3 if we want it. All kinds of stuff. Talisman of Creativity, 2 generic, tap it for a colorless, or tap it for a blue or a red, and it deals 1 damage to you. And we probably have the other talismans in here as well. Talisman of Dominance, same thing, but it taps for a blue or a black, and it deals 1 damage to you. Talismans are always good, especially in decks that don't have a green in them. Talisman of Indulgence does the exact same thing, but taps for a black or a red, and deals 1 damage to you. Also taps for that colorless if we don't need the color. We have Flywheel Racer, 2 generic, Vigilance, add 1 mana of any color, activate only if Flywheel Racer is a creature, and has crew 1. So we have to tap a creature and then tap this to get the mana. But next up we got Removal. We got Withering Torment, 2 generic and a black, destroy target creature or enchantment. You lose 2 life. Instant speed, 3 mana, destroy target enchantment in black. It's freaking pretty good. There's not a lot of enchantment removal in these colors, I feel like, so I feel like this is one of the better ones. We have Toxic Deluge, 2 generic and a black. As an additional cost to cast this spell, pay X life. All creatures get -X until end of turn. So one of the best board wipes in the game. It's like $5 now. That's why I'm putting it in all my black decks. I say this every single time I have a black deck that has Toxic Deluge in it. Then we have Vandablast, 1 red, destroy target artifact you don't control, or 4 generic and a red. You may cast this spell for its overload cost. If you do, change target to each. So destroy each artifact you don't control. Chaos Warp, 2 generic and a red. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, they put it onto the battlefield. Yeah, this is a pretty good removal for red. Terminate, Rakdos, which is black and a red. Destroy a target creature, it can't be regenerated. Instant speed. Siren Storm Tamer, 1 blue, flying Siren Pirate Wizard. Sacrifice it with a blue and counter target spell or ability that targets you or a creature you control. Yep, that makes sense. It's a pirate wizard. It's a pirate mainly. That's what we care about. Rakdos Charm. It's Rakdos. Exile target player's graveyard. Destroy target artifact, or each creature deals 1 damage to its controller. Good against token decks. Can literally outright kill somebody if they have like 30 tokens on the battlefield, or 40. Hostage Taker, 2 generic, and a Dimir. Whenever it enters, exile another target creature or artifact until Hostage Taker leaves the battlefield. You may cast a card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. It's a human pirate. We all know Hostage Taker. A Braid, 1 generic and a red. Add 3 damage, or deal 3 damage to target creature or destroy target artifact. A Braid's really good. I love a Braid. I've been putting it in all my red decks, and I will continue to put it in all my red decks. It's honestly a staple at this point. Blasphemous Act, 8 generic and a red, but it's usually going to cast 1 red. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature on the battlefield, and it deals 13 damage to each creature. Includes your creatures, but most of ours are going to be artifacts instead of creatures at the moment, so it gets around vehicles. Adamor's Order, 1 generic, 2 blue. If you attack with a creature this turn, you may play blue and rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Counter target spell. So it can be a 1 blue counter spell on your turn, pretty much. I like this spell because it has pirates on it. That's literally the only reason why it's in here. We have assassins, pirates, and vehicles. I put them all in 1 slot. We have Edwell, Breaker of Chains, 1 generic, and a Dimir. Whenever it enters, reveal the top 6 cards of your library. Put any assassins, pirates, or vehicles from among them into your hand. The rest of the bottom of your library in any random order. Whenever a vehicle you control deals combat damage to a player, you may return Edwell from your graveyard to the hand. That's a 4/1 for 3. I'm not sure what's going on with the 4/1, but I like this card because it lets us draw cards, but also lets us like return it to the thing. They have Adrestia, 3 generic island walk attacks. If an assassin crewed this turn, draw a card. Adrestia becomes an assassin in addition to its other types until end of turn. And as crew 1, it's a 4/3. Pretty good vehicle, legendary, but has island walk, so it can just boom get through on islands. I like it. It makes a lot of sense to be in here. Anchor to Reality, 2 generic, 2 blue. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice an artifact or a creature, a vehicle. Search your life for an equipment or vehicle. Put that onto the battlefield, then shuffle. If it has a mana value less than the sacrifice permanent's value, scry 2. So if we can just get something bigger, or we can get something smaller, and we can also get that additional scry if we get something smaller, which makes a lot of sense. Mainly we're going to be sacrificing other probably vehicles. We have Archwave Innovation. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control an island. Taps for blue. You can tap it for a blue and tap it. Then the next spell you cast this turn has Improvise, which means each artifact you tap can tap it for additional like 1 colorless. Can be pretty good because most of our vehicles are like straight colorless anyways, so might as well just tap them to make more vehicles. We have Breaches, Eager Pillager, 2 generic and a red, legendary creature, Goblin Pirate. First strike, whenever a pirate you control attacks, choose one that has been chosen this turn. Create a treasure token. Target creature can be blocked and exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. So you can choose one of those 3. It's a 3/3 with first strike. It's also a pirate. We care about pirates. Too bad Docs Extortionist is banned, or else it would be in here. Brotherhood Vertibird, 3 generic artifact vehicle. Flying, its power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. And it has crew 2, so you have power 2 or greater to crew it. It's a flying big bird. It's a helicopter. I like it. Can be really big, or it can be just a 1/4. But Buried Ruin, taps for colorless, tap 2, tap it, sacrifice it, return target artifact from your graveyard to your hand. Just a little bit of ways to get our vehicles back, because most of them are artifacts. I think all of them are artifacts actually, so that makes a lot of sense to be in here. A little bit of recursion, a little bit to get them back, and it's just a land, so it doesn't hurt us at all. Captain Land on a Storm, 2 generic and a red. Legendary creature, Human Pirate, has haste. Whenever it attacks, create a treasure token. Whenever you sacrifice a treasure, Captain Land on a Storm gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And it's a 2/2. So Human Pirate has haste, so it can attack and get us that treasure. So it's effectively 2 mana. If we have an open attack, makes a lot of sense to be in here because that's a pirate. Ramps us a little bit. Captain Storm Cosminium Raider. So is it whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1 counter on target pirate you control. There's like 19 or 20 pirates in here, so whenever one of our vehicles enters, we get a counter on one of them. So that means we can crew bigger stuff, which makes it a lot easier to crew stuff. It makes sense. Trust me, it makes a lot of sense. Coercive Recruiter, 4 generic and a red. Whenever it enters or another pirate enters the battlefield under your control, gain control of target creature you control until end of turn, or you don't control until end of turn. Untap that creature until end of turn. It gains haste and becomes a pirate in addition to its other types. It's a 4/3 for 5. Not very efficient there, but it's a good card because we have a good amount of pirates in here. I said like 19 or something like that. We have Constellated Dreadnought, 1 generic, crew 6. It's a 7/11 for 1. You do have to put total power 6 onto it, but I feel like you can do this pretty early, like turn 4 or 5. I feel like that's pretty good. Like a couple 2/2s, just get them out there. Play this turn 1, play a 2/2, then play another 2/2 or 3/3. Then you have the Omen Keel, 1 generic and a blue. Whenever a vehicle you control deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles that many cards from the top of their library. You may play lands from among those cards exiled as long as they remain exiled. And on the flip side, it's Cosmic God of the Voyage, which doesn't really matter. It lets you draw cards for a number of voyage counters on her. We'll probably never play her on her side. We'll probably just only play it on the vehicle side, to be honest. Cultivar Caravan, we already talked about this. This is 3 generic and adds 1 mana of any color. It's a 3/3. It's a 5/5 crew 3 vehicle. It's a little bit of ramp, a little bit of being able to attack with it and deal damage. I really like vehicles. The design on them is pretty good. There's saddle, but crew is just so much cooler, We have Cyber Drive Awakener, 5 generic and blue. Other artifact creatures you control have flying, and then whenever it enters until in a turn, each non-creature artifact you control becomes a 4/4 artifact creature with base power 4/4. I don't know why I already said that. But it's until in a turn, all of our vehicles become 4/4s pretty much, and they have flying. Makes good. And whenever they're crewed, they also become artifact creatures, which have some flying. Deadeye Quartermaster, 3 generic and blue. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an equipment or a vehicle. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. It's a 2/2 human pirate. It's a pirate. It's you know, fits the theme of pirates and assassins and all the other stuff. It searches for vehicles. I like it. It's also a common, or uncommon. We have Deluxe Dragster, 4 generic and blue. It can't be blocked except by vehicles. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant or sorcery from that player's graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell will be put into a graveyard, exile instead. And it has Crew 2. It's a 4/3. For 5, I really like this vehicle because you can just like straight cast somebody's freaking Blasphemous Act or whatever. We have Desynchronization, 2 generic, 2 blue. Return each non-land permanent that's not historic to its owner's hand. So return everything that's not an artifact, legendary, or saga. So pretty much everybody else's stuff, but not ours. Which makes sense because we have a lot of vehicles and they're all artifacts, and our commander's legendary, so it all fits. Dusk Legion Dreadnought, 5 generic, Vigilance Crew 2. It's a 4/6 artifact vehicle. We basically just have this in here to attack. We want to attack and be tapped and create treasures and cast more boats and more vehicles and more cars and whatever you want to do. This deck's probably going to get a lot better with the new set coming out next year, the Aether Drift or whatever it's called. Fell Flagship, 3 generic, pirates you control get +1/+0. Whenever this deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. That's Crew 3, and it's a 3/3 for 3, 3/3 for 3. That Crew 3s, 3/3. It all makes sense. A bunch of 3s. It's a vehicle. That's all. It's really just a vehicle. It's all. That's why it's in here. It's a vehicle. They're all vehicles. Golden Argosy, 4 generic. Whenever it attacks, exile each creature that crewed it this turn. Return them to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Crew 1. It's a 3/6 for 4. So this is basically like a little bit of blink. We have like stuff that has entered the battlefield, like the Crowless or Recruiter. We can crew it, and then it comes back and it steals something else. So then we have Horde Hauler, 3 generic and red. Trample, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token for each artifact they control. This is a Dockside Extortionist on a budget. Kind of. As Crew 3 and Trample, it's a 5/5. It can get you a lot of stuff if you attack somebody that has a lot of artifacts, but also can get you 0. So the floor is 0, but the ceiling is 1 billion. Imposter Mech, 1 generic and a blue. Enters the battlefield as a copy of a creature an opponent controls, except it's a vehicle artifact with Crew 3 and it loses all other card types. And it has Crew 3 and it's a 3/1 for 2. Imposter Mech is really cool because it turns something into a vehicle, so we can get something cool like a Blightsteel Colossus. I don't know why you'd want a Blightsteel Colossus, but that'd be cool. Inventor's Fair, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more artifacts, you gain 1 life. Tap it for a colorless, or tap it, sacrifice it, search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Activate only if you control 3 or more artifacts. We basically want to search this for a vehicle, and that's pretty much why it's in here. No other reason. We have Jackdaw, 1 generic, and it is a legendary artifact vehicle. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may discard out of your hand. If you do, draw a card for each artifact you control. Crew 3 for 4, for 4/4. This is like a wheel, but better, because we have like 14 artifacts out. We just wheel and get 14 more artifacts for card draws. I think it's cool. We have Jorah, Weatherlight Captain, 2 generic and an is it. Whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card, which is our vehicles, our commander. It all just draws us a card whenever it casts. It's pretty good. And also, Jorah is just pretty good. You can swap it out for your commander. I'm just kidding. You can't do that because it doesn't have black in it. But it is cool because I think you could do a vehicle with Jorah deck. All right, then we got Loyal Inventor, 2 generic and a blue. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, then shuffle, put that card in your hand if you control an assassin. Otherwise, put it on top of your library. So it kind of goes well with the assassins. It's also 2/3, so it can crew a lot of good stuff. Has vigilance. Oh, it can attack and then crew, and then I don't know. I'm just trying to brew something up. Magmatic Galleon, 3 generic, 2 red. And whenever it enters, it deals 5 damage to target creature an opponent controls. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control, your opponents control, are dealt access non-combat damage, create a treasure token. Wow, that's pretty good, right? It enters and creates a treasure. Wow, that's so good. Not really. Mary Reed and Annie Bonnie. 1 generic and an is it. Legendary creature, human, assassin, pirate. Haste, tap it, draw a card, then discard a card. Whenever you discard an island, pirate, or a vehicle, create a tapped treasure token. A little bit of ramp, a little bit of looting. It's a 3/3, can crew well. Yeah, that's all the stuff I got to say about this human assassin pirate from Assassin's Creed that had, 42 cards in it? Yeah, Mech Hanger, taps for one colorless. You can tap it, add 1 mana of any color, spend this 1 mana to cast a pilot or vehicle spell. Then you can tap 3 and tap it. Target vehicle becomes an artifact creature until the turn. So instead of crewing, we can just tap this land and make target vehicle a creature, which is pretty handy whenever you don't have any other creatures on the battlefield to crew the thing. Then if you want, you can use that vehicle to crew a crew and then crew a crew. And then we have Might, Servant of Leok, 3 generic artifact vehicle, trample, ward, discard a card. Whenever it becomes crewed for the first time, if it was crewed by exactly 2 creatures, it gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw 2 cards until end of turn. Crew 4, and it's a 6/6 for 3. It has like a billion letters on there, so it's pretty hard to read. Mindlink Mech, 2 generic and a blue. Whenever it becomes crewed for the first time each turn, until end of turn, Mindlink Mech becomes a copy of target non-legendary creature that crewed it this turn, except it's a 4/3. It's a vehicle artifact in addition to its other types, and it has flying, and it has crew 1. It's a 4/3 for 3. Kamigawa, I'm pretty sure that's a Transformer card, right? I don't actually know. It looks like a Transformer to me. We have Immobilizer Mech, 1 generic and a blue. Artifact vehicle, flying. Whenever it becomes crewed, up to 1 target artifact you control becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. Has crew 3. It's a 3/4. These all just look like Transformers to me from Kamigawa. So I'm gonna say they're Transformers, even though they're probably not, but they look like Transformers to me. So and they already have a Transformer set. We have not a load ship, 4 generic artifact vehicle, flying. Whenever it enters the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard, and it deals combat damage to a player. You may put a creature card, exile with knowledge ship onto the battlefield under your control. So that crew 3 for 5 for 4. It's a 5/5. This is a Nautilus shell. I just like the art, to be honest. That's why it's in here. I don't even know if it really like the ability, but it seems cool. Port Razor, 3 generic, 2 red. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, untap each creature you control. After this combat phase, there's an additional combat phase. And then it can't attack a player that has already attacked this turn. It's a 5 mana 4/4 with gives extra combats, and it's an orc pirate. That's why it's in here, because it's a pirate. Not because it's an orc, because it's a pirate. The reason why it's in here. Raiders Carve, 3 generic. Whenever it attacks, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield, and then it has crew 3 for 3. It's a 4/4. And yeah. Yep. It crews 3, and it's a 4/4. That's all that matters here. It's a vehicle. It'll be tapped. You can crew it. I think it'd be really cool to crew a crew with a crew. You know what I mean? Ramirez DePietro, Pillager, 2 generic and a Demir. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you lose 2 life and create 2 treasure tokens. Whenever 1 or more pirates you control deal combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library. You may cast the card for as long as it remains exiled. It doesn't give you you may spend any mana of any color, so that's why it gives you the treasures to kind of fix your mana here. But pirates kind of want to steal everybody's stuff. That's why they're kind of rude. We have RMS Titanic, 3 generic and a red. Legendary artifact vehicle, flying trample. Whenever RMS Titanic deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice it and create that many treasure tokens. That's a crew 3 for 4. It's a 7/1. So you get in for 7 damage, and you create 7 treasures whenever you sacrifice it. So it's not even a meh, you have to. We have Xiao Jun, 1 generic and an is it. As long as it's your turn, it has flying and first strike, and then you can tap 2 untapped artifacts you control. Deals 1 damage to each opponent. Yeah, there might be a way to combo with this, but I don't actually know, because I've never been looking into this card. But all I know is it's a human assassin, and if it's tapped, we get a treasure. So it makes sense to me. Silent Submersible, 2 blue. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player or a planeswalker, draw a card. It's crew 2 for 2 blue, the 2/3. This basically gives you that like blue creature thing that lets you. What's the arcane at? No. What's the reflections of lit draw? Nope, that's not. What's the one that lets you, whenever you deal combat damage, you draw a card? I don't know, it's an enchantment. Sky Sovereign, console flagship, 5 generic legendary artifact vehicle. Flying, whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, it deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Crew 3 for, it's a 6/5 for 5. It's it's a vehicle. That's why it's in here. I don't think I need to explain why it's in here, because it's a vehicle. It's a big old vehicle. It's a 6/5. We have a sleek. This one's a funny name. Sleek Schooner. Sleek Schooner. Say that 5 times fast. Sleek Schooner, Sleek Schooner, Sleek Schooner, Sleek Schooner, Sleek Schooner. 3 generic artifact vehicle. Crew 1 4/3. It's a vehicle. That's why it's in here. It also has a funny name. Sleek Schooner. Reminds me of like, I Think You Should Leave or whatever, the show. Smuggler's Copter, 2 generic artifact vehicle. Flying, whenever it attacks or blocks, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. I feel like this is probably like a card in standard or whatever. Modern. I don't know. I've heard this name somewhere. It's a crew 1 for 3. It's a 2. It's a 3 for 2. Crew 1. Start your engines. 3 generic and red. Vehicles you control become artifact creatures until end of turn. Creature you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. So it buffs your vehicles and turns them into actual creatures. So this is really good for because it's going to have a bunch of vehicles. Or at least I think it's really good. It's that sorcery speed which kind of blows, but you're mainly going to do this to finish off your opponents and have a bunch of tapped vehicles whenever you're done and create a bunch of treasures. We have Staunch Crewmate, 1 generic and a blue. Enters the battlefield. You may look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact or pirate card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of your library in any random order. Probably going to be putting a vehicle into your hand, but sometimes you can put a pirate into your hand if you want. If you have a good pirate in there. It's good stuff. Staunch Crewmate. Subterranean Schooner. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Schooner. 1 generic and blue. Whenever it attacks, target creature that crewed it this turn explores, which means you reveal the top card of your library, put that card into your hand if it's a land, otherwise put a +1 counter on that creature. And then this is a crew 1 for 2, and it's a 3/4. It's a Schooner. Search Hacker Mech, 4 generic artifact vehicle, menace. Whenever it enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to twice the number of vehicles you control to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. It's a crew 4 for 5/5. We're just going to be able to kill a creature with this, I guess. The ability is not really that good. I just put it in here because it's a vehicle that can be tapped. The Belligerent, 2 generic and an is it. Whenever it attacks, create a treasure token. Until end of turn, you may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. It's a 5/5 crew 3 for 4. That lets you get some card advantage, plus gives you a little bit of mana. It's all around good. I like this card. Probably one of the best vehicles in the deck, to be honest. We have the Indomitable, 2 generic, 2 blue, legendary artifact vehicle. Trample, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card in a crew 3, and then you may cast the Indomitable from your graveyard as long as you control 3 or more tapped pirates or vehicles. And that's a 6/6 with crew 3, so this is pretty good. And we're probably going to be able to cast it from our graveyard quite often because we're going to have a lot of pirates. We have Lord of the Pain, 3 generic, and a Rakdos, legendary creature, human assassin. It's an assassin, that's why it's in here. It has menace, and it says your opponents can't gain life. Whenever a player casts their first spell each turn, choose another target player. Then Lord of Pain deals damage to that equal to that spell's mana value to the chosen player. That's a 5/5 for 5. It's an assassin. Unlicensed Hearse, 2 generic artifact creature. Exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard, and its power and toughness are equal to the number of cards exiled with it. And it has crew 2, and there's no telling what the power of this thing will be. I guess it comes in as a 0/0, technically, right? I guess you have to tap it to actually get the ability, because it won't. If it comes in as a creature, won't it just die? So you actually have to tap it first and then be able to attack with it. And we have Weatherlight, 4 generic legendary artifact vehicle, flying. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a historic card from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest at the bottom of your library in any random order. And it has crew 3 for a 4/5. Basically, lets us look at the top 5 and get vehicles into our hand, which is a little bit of card draw, which I like. We have lands. I mean, we always put lands in a deck. We have 6 swamps, as per usual. I like to keep it rounded. We have 6 mountains. Guess we have 6 islands as well. And then we have Blazemire Verge. Taps are black, taps are red if you control a swamp or a mountain. From Duskmorn, good lands. We have Dragon Soul Summit. Enters the battlefield tap unless you control a swamp or a mountain. Taps are black or red. Always love these lands. We have Luxury Suite. Enters the battlefield tap unless you have 2 or more opponents. Taps are red or black. Good in 4-player pods, not good in 1v1. We have Training Center. Enters the battlefield tap unless you have 2 or more opponents. Taps are blue or red. Again, good in 4-player pods, not good in 1v1. Sulfur Falls. Enters the battlefield tap unless you control an island or a mountain. Taps are blue or red. Like these cards too, because it's easy to have those. Morphic Pool. Enters the battlefield tap unless you can have 2 or more opponents. Taps are blue or black. Like I said, good in 4-player pods, not good in 1v1. Drowned Catacomb. Enters the battlefield tap unless you control an island or a swamp. Taps are blue or black. Yep, blue or black. Gloom Lake Verge. Taps are blue, but taps are black if you have an island or a swamp. You can only activate if you have an island or a swamp. You have Command Tower. Adds 1 mana of any color to your commit. That is your committer's color identity, which is a red, black, or blue. And then we have Bajuka Bog. Enters battlefield tapped. Whenever it enters, exile target player's graveyard, and it taps for a black. I didn't know they had it in Duskmorn. That's kind of funny. I have Exotic Orchard. I don't demand of any color that alien opponent controls can produce. So most people are going to be playing black, blue, or red. One of the colors to be able to tap for something. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe. This is day 22. Go ahead and go down in the description. Follow me on Blue Sky. Enjoy the Discord server. Link in the description to the deck and Moxield. Yeah, see you guys in the next video. Peace.